Well, hey guys, welcome, welcome, welcome. You are here live with Joan of Angels. Step into the miraculous and fasten your seatbelts because today the truth is about to be revealed and we are the ones that we have been waiting for. We are going to be kind of delving into the secret mysteries that have run our planet and the people who are seeking to bring the truth to all of us. So the truth shall be revealed. And yes, we are the ones we've been waiting for. So meanwhile, I just am so happy to welcome you here to my channel, to my Joan of Angels channel, Step into the Miraculous. And if you are new to my channel, you know the drill. Please help me grow this channel by liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. You know how all these numbers go. It's in the numbers, but it's in my tribe of people who we are calling the Angel Brigade. So I'm really happy to see you. I am your host, Joan of Angels. You can go to my website, joanofangels.com, and get a free 30-day miracle journal on how to step into the miraculous. And you can also find out more about our guest at his website, aprojectionofyou.com. So make sure you're checking out our guest as well. So in our search for the miraculous, in our search for wondering who we are, why we're here, our mission on the planet, one of the things is that although we have clues as to who we are and our history, we actually have to be dedicated into searching it out because our modern day history has actually left out the truth. It has had a history of covering up reality and covering up the truth. So we are here today to start to understand that who we are, we can't even get to who we unless we know who we've been, where we've been, and how we came to been, all right? All of those aspects. And so there are people on this planet who are dedicated truth seekers who actually want to know and who want to raise our collective awareness by lifting this veil of deception, okay? That overshadows everything. You think you know the truth, but you really don't. You only know the truth because you can only see this much. So I am so happy to bring on OMAR FAIZI, probably ruining the pronunciation right there, but he's the founder of Watchers Talk. He's a researcher in the field of archaeology, ancient history, exo-politics, UFOlogy, alien abductions, OBE, and consciousness, as well as currently writing a book called Earth Frequencies, which highlights how our human experience and consciousness is being suppressed by unseen powers, all right, and how to overcome this force at play. And of course, step one is knowing there's even a force at play. So OMAR has had discussions with many of the leading researchers in the field of archaeology, ancient history, etc., consciousness, to name a few, because he is an independent researcher who collaborates with other like-minded people in various projects related to accurate accounts of human history. He's a facilitator of major events, and he's also going to be talking to us today about the major event upcoming this weekend, actually. So I want to welcome our guest, OMAR. Let's see if we can get you up there. All right, there you go. Hello, OMAR. Welcome to Stepping into the Miraculous.
Hello, Dr. Joan. Thank you for having me on your platform. I really appreciate it. And it's quite the honor to have this one-on-one discussion with you since, we roll around in the same circles and we've come across each other many, many times at many different conferences. And I'm just very happy that we can have, this intellectual conversation between us and, share our thoughts as to what's going on with ourselves and with the people around us, and most importantly, with our Mother Earth. So thank you for having me on.
I'm so excited about that. I think it's an honor, OMAR, to have you on because, it's so interesting. You said have an intellectual conversation, and I'm laughing in my head because I'm going, does he know that I'm a touchy-feely? You know, you know that I'm here rubbing my hands and raising the energetic frequency. And just saying that we bring all aspects to the table, actually, and that's what rounds it out. So I want to know more about you. First of all, you're going to correct me on the spelling, on the pronunciation of your
You
name.
did that perfect. Yeah, it's FAIZI. You just got it bang on.
Well, you know, I said it out loud and I went, oh, wait, I haven't practiced this. And then I was sure that I butchered it. So, okay, FAIZI, which is interesting because it was like some people say, nothing phases me. You know,
Yeah.
nothing shocks me. And I'm thinking, oh my God, your work is dedicated to phasing people, shocking them.
And that's right, changing their paradigm, and what's the most important thing for me is to bring awareness to people about their consciousness, and I think that is the most important work that I'm doing. I'm involved in like lots of other things, right, like archaeology and ufology and exopolitics, kind of what have you. But when we connect all of those dots, it really brings us back to one focal point, which is consciousness, because everything is based on consciousness, whether it's ET experience or or even archaeology for that matter, because a lot of consciousness has gone into that. And for me to highlight that is, I find that pleasing.
That's such a wonderful way to put it. That the research, the work you do is pleasing, and you find it pleasing because
I love what I do, and and I do what I love, and it's for me, I never understood my own consciousness until I would say about 2007, 2008, and I never really gave it time of day, and never really thought about my own consciousness. And when I began some really deep research into ufology, I came to understand that everything is connected with consciousness. So I thought, if that's connected with consciousness, then what about my consciousness? And when I asked that question, it just opened up like this whole, new rabbit hole for me to go down. And then once I started to go down that, and I began to learn about myself, it really, raised my own awareness and my own distortion. And the more I learned about myself, it almost seemed like I was learning about the entire world, that I was getting downloads about like things that I didn't know before, but suddenly I knew, right? So for me, that was, a telltale sign that I'm on the right path with, exploring my own consciousness, because I can't really advise somebody on their consciousness if I'm not aware of my own consciousness and of my own being, right? So I first have to understand that about myself before I can go out and start preaching to the world, right?
well, it is. It's disclosure. It's also self-disclosure. And I was a chiropractor for many years, and I noticed that sometimes there was a dichotomy of what I would tell people, but what I was practicing in my own life. And honestly, in consciousness, they have to be aligned. We have to practice what we're preaching, and we have to learn what that is. So I've been interested in how you came to have such a diverse background in all of these areas and what really motivated you.
I just, I read a lot of books. My childhood wasn't the best. And I found myself in, in some various circumstances where I had a lot of time on my hand. And I began reading. And the more I read, the more interested I became. Interestingly enough, it all started with Eric von Daniken, and then after Eric von Daniken, I kind of hit up David Icke. And when I began reading David Icke, my shift totally changed, because I totally understood what he was saying. And then when I got into that, the rest really, it just came. Right, for me, when I began Watchers Talk, there was a goal behind it, and the goal was that my wife, she's had ET experiences her whole life, and and she wakes up every morning and says, "Hey, I was running again last night. Somebody was chasing me," and things like that, right? So I was like, okay, I want to get to the bottom of this. I want to understand what's going on with you so that I can help you. Right, so I thought, okay, well, I'm going to start a podcast or a streamcast, and I'm going to bring authors and such on and researchers, And I'm going to pick their mind and pick their brains and try to get information so that I can help my wife try to figure out what's going on. And when I started to do that, it's just just a whole array, a whole spectrum of things just opened up, and all these different researchers were contacting me, and I was contacting them, authors and kind of what have you, and then they were coming on, and we were talking about various things, and went from UFO to archaeology to exo-politics, and then eventually into consciousness. And thankfully, I can say what I learned from my UFOlogy research, I've been able to help my wife with that, because now we understand what she's going through and what's been happening to her and what's going on with my daughter and and her mom and her sister and things like that. So we got a pretty good grasp on what's happening now. Now the trick is to put that sovereignty in line, so that these dark forces or these extraterrestrials, which are vibrating beyond our visual perspective, that we need to show them that they just simply can't come and attach themselves to us or abduct us at night or subconsciously abduct us, because we have a sovereign right. And that's kind of what I'm trying to learn right now and educate that to my wife and to my daughter, that we have to invoke when you feel that there is some sort of a presence around you, that you need to invoke. You have to say your name, like, I am Omar, I'm a sovereign being, and I don't give you permission to to interfere with my life. And at that point, the universal law, the universal karmic law is gonna, they have to obey that, and they have to respect that when they'll stop, right? And that's really the trick of understanding really that perception of the the whole phenomenon with this ET thing that's been going on. Right. But really, Dr. Joan, that's what really got me into into this field that I'm in. It was never intended to go as long as it has. Now I'm into my 7th year, which is wonderful. And like I said, I never really intended for this to come this far. I just kind of wanted to learn about UFOs and call it a day and be done with it. But then, so much information was coming out, and I realized that everything that I've been taught is being a lie. And then when I realized that, then I was like, okay, well, I have to find out the real truth as to who and what I am. And then that's when really I said, okay, I'm going to carry Watcher's Talk on, and I'm going to try to learn as much as I possibly can. And so I started looking into human history and trying to discover who and what we are. Because like you were saying in the beginning of the cast, that we're not going to be able to pave the road to where we're going if we don't know where we came from, because we don't know if we're going to end up making the same mistakes that we may have made in the past, right? So we have to break that cycle. So I really got into that, and got really deep into that, and then got into Aboriginal studies, and because I'm half Aboriginal myself, but I'm estranged from my Aboriginal culture. So recently I decided that I was going to start investigating creation stories and sacred stories and culture of the Aboriginal people, the music, the sound vibrations that they use, and that's kind of the research leg that I'm on right now, amongst many other things.
Wow. Okay, I have to break this down for a second, just so you get this. And also, I want to say a shout out to all of our wonderful audience here, some of them who seem to know us both, and I'm so happy you're part of this. And if you have questions for Omar, he's being upfront about who he is and his motivation, so I really want you to ask them. But this is so interesting, because my feeling with UFOlogy or near-death experiences, we study them because we actually probably have them. We're called to study angels like me or whatever. It's a combination of they're knocking on our door and we're knocking on theirs. And so, but I find it interesting, it was your wife. See, have you had your own experiences with ETs, abductions, experiencers, et cetera, your own personal contact?
I don't think I had, any contact, but, I do, I have suspicions. Like a few years ago, for instance, I was driving from Vancouver Island to Edmonton, and in the middle of the mountains near Hope, BC, my oil pan burst, and my van came to a stop on the side of the road, and it was like, I don't know, about 11:30, 12 o'clock at night, and pretty dark out, but luckily it was summer. And I was like, oh man, I'm screwed. What am I going to do now, right? And so I was sitting in front of my van. I was having a smoke, and I was looking up at the stars, and all of a sudden, this UFO kind of thing just flew by me, just very slowly, right? It was almost like a Cessna that was going at like 5 kilometers an hour. Like it was like that small, right? It was like fluorescent green, and then it was kept going, and then it just kind of disappeared. And I took that as a hint that that I'm being watched, and that everything's going to be okay. And oddly enough, about 20 minutes later, this woman pulled up, and she's like, "Hey, are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine." It's van broke down. She's like, "Where are you headed?" I said, "Edmonton." And she's like, "I'm going to Calgary." So, she gave me a ride all the way to Calgary, and from Calgary, I busted up to Edmonton. But, that's one experience that comes to mind. But on the other hand, I've been watching Sheila Seppi on walk-ins and such. And, the strange thing for me is that, I would say that about 80% of the 90s are a complete miss for me. It's just simply gone. I don't recall really any memories from that. I have a friend of mine who mentions it to me, says, "Hey, do you remember this guy, or do you remember this guy?" And the answer is always like, "No, I don't remember. I can't recall." So I'm not really quite sure exactly what's happening, but that's why I'm saying I'm a little suspicious of almost the entire 90s that have kind of just disappeared from under my feet. And I'm trying to, really get that memory back. But I'm not sure after watching Sheila, I'm just kind of wondering whether I'm a walk-in as well, that I just kind of walked in the 90s, and then the other consciousness or other energy that inhabited this avatar, right, just, decided to abandon it, or made a contract and said, okay, you can occupy this and I'll leave. And because since then, my memories have been very, very, very clear. But prior to that, right, there's almost like no memory, and my childhood memories are gone. There's very little memory left from my early teens, 13, 14, 15, and then after that, it's a total blank, right? So that's kind of something I'm also exploring. But I don't want to say if it's ET or from a walk-in or anything like that, because I just don't have enough evidence to even point to that direction, right? So it's going to take a lot of soul searching, and a lot of looking in the day, a lot of meditations, a lot of daydreaming to really get to that aspect, to find out exactly what happened. Is it trauma that caused this memory to disappear? Or is it that I'm just a walk-in, and that this is a fresh start from the late 90s and on?
Well, that's such an interesting thing. I have that feeling about myself too. There was like before and after. And it is kind of interesting. I think it started when I moved down to Mexico to study UFOs, and I started this group. And I suddenly became smart. I can't explain it, but I became smarter. People thought I was brilliant, but yeah, I can only say it was like something that had started, like this certain kind of clarity. And I would look at work and become this collaborator of things I knew nothing about, but I was able to see the missing pieces and do it. And I think, so I know what you're talking about. My whole sense of who I am, if you had told me I'd be into this world of UFOs and ETs and consciousness and angels and channeling and meditation, I wouldn't have related to that.
Yeah, same here. If you had spoken to me, like, let's say in 1993, 94, just in there somewhere, and said, "Hey, Omar, you're going to be a podcaster, and you're going to be talking about consciousness and UFOs and kind of all that," I would have been like, no, I don't think so. That's just not my cup of tea. I don't believe in any of that. But weird enough, like back in those days, I used to write poetry, and the poetry that I was writing, it almost seemed like it was channeled. But I don't know what channeling is about. So, I just like wrote these things down. And then when I looked at, when I would read it after, it would be just like this clear story that I've written down. And, and I did that for a number of years, but never understanding what it is that I'm writing. I just kind of just simply wrote because I thought it sounded cool. But now when I go into my files and stuff, and I go back and I look at those things that I wrote, it really makes the hair on my skin stand up, because what I know today and what I understand today, I didn't know these things back then, but the things that I was writing back then kind of correlate with what I was saying here now. So that also kind of makes me wonder, as with a walk-in, that maybe the consciousness that I had previously, right, was I'm not really quite how to explain it, but it just wasn't maybe vibrating or distorting at a higher level. So
Right.
this other form of consciousness stepped in and said, okay, since you can't do it, I'll take over and then I'll do this. Because it seems that things just like really, changed like day and night instantly. And I was quite surprised by it. Like you were saying, there's like, I know things that I shouldn't know. I've never read on, but when somebody's talking about it, it almost seems like I know the subject that they're talking about. And and that's very confusing. It's like, how do I know that? What are they talking about? Maybe, hey, try connecting this dot to that, and maybe that'll work. And, when they do it, it works. And I sit there and I scratch my head. It's like, oh, wow, how did that happen?
See, that's how we started. I said, and you wanted to have an intelligent, intellectual conversation about something that's energy, vibration, sensing, sound, and is all of these senses. So it's not just on this one track, but I'm totally fascinated by your awakening, Omar. It kind of sounds similar to mine in a sense of not being able to relate to who that person was, who was at a different vibrational frequency. And listen, what is ascension but a gradual or overnight, it could be instantaneous, stepping into a higher vibrational frequency on all levels, which is what we do with disclosure, right? So tell us how then you came up with, tell us about this upcoming disclosure conference and why it's so important.
Okay, well, this disclosure coming up called Total Disclosure is, it's in the making for a long time. When I started doing Watchers Talk, it was mostly to interview researchers and authors. And then after that, it just didn't seem to me that was good enough. And then I thought, okay, well, I'm going to do some webinars. And then I reached out to people and, did some webinars. And I was like, okay, well, this is cool. How about I do a day event? And then I did a day event, and then that went well. And I was like, okay, let's do another one. I did another one, and then another, and then another, and another. And then a few weeks ago, actually a couple of months ago, I did Forgery Unmasked. It was like one of my biggest ones, 33 speakers, 35 speakers, something like that. And then during that time, I made some great friendships with Rob Yachts from Full Spectrum Universe, Greg Bornstein from Open Loops, and we started talking, and we're like, hey, well, we should create more events and facilitate more events so that we can get the truth out there. And then after that, we ended up doing Seed, which was focused on plant medicine and animal communication. That one was, I guess, about a month ago. And then after that, Rob and I started talking, and we're like, hey, why don't we do a massive event, like the biggest one of the year? We'll do like 55 speakers over 5 days, and and that number just kind of just like came into my head, right? 555, and then later on, I had to go and look up what that word meant or what those numbers meant. And it kind of really falls in line with what we're doing with this Total Disclosure. So anyways, Rob and I, we started working on it. And it took up until yesterday, actually today, to really organize the entire list of people that we wanted to have on. We just didn't want to pick, just anyone and everyone to come on, right? So we wanted to look at, people's specialty, which they spoke, topics that they spoke about, how versed they were in their subjects, and how much research they've done in their subjects. Because really, when we want to do a disclosure like that, we want to bring in like really, really high caliber people, so that the information that's coming out is going to be very high caliber. So we went through a list of people, and then the universe started to work with us as well. We speak to one person, and they're like, yeah, I'm interested. They're like, hey, maybe you should try getting a hold of this person, because this person might be interested. So we go and look at that person, we vet them and find out, okay, well, this is a good fit. So we brought them in, and and up until just when this broadcast was happening, I was on the horn with Barbara Lamb, locking in our final speaker for this disclosure.
So you saw her yesterday with me.
That's right. She was on your channel yesterday, and I came. It's just unfortunate I caught the last couple of minutes, but I went back and I watched the entire stream after that. But it was really cool when I came on. I saw Barbara. I was like, oh wow, I've been trying to get a hold of Barbara like since the beginning of the planning stages of total disclosure. And I don't know if she checks her Facebook or not, but I sent her a message on Facebook, and for days I went back and I checked to see if she's seen it, and she hadn't seen it, right? And I was like, oh man, and then I got a hold of Neil, and I was like, hey, well, do you have Barbara's email? Maybe I'd like to reach out to her. And then I talked to my friend Stephen Strong and Evan Strong, and so.
And there she was.
That's right, and there she was yesterday. And what I find really cool, Dr. Joan, is that I thought I had my entire list done, and everyone was locked in, and everything was perfect. And then over the course of like last 2 days, I've had 2-3 people cancel on me due to the fact that I have one, Dr. Urlov, who's the only pyramid builder on the planet. And he was saying, hey, Omar, I can't make it because I'm going to be out building pyramids and there's no Wi-Fi there. And I was like, okay, that's cool. And then I had my other speaker say that she's in the jungles of Mexico deep in research and that there's no reliable Wi-Fi and that she's not going to be able to make it. And then there was one other person that it was the same thing. They were deep in research and couldn't make it. And I was like, oh, wow. And then so as soon as that happened, other doors began to open. Right, Valerie Burrows, I contacted her and she's like, yeah, I would love to come and speak. And then saw Barbara Lamb yesterday. She's like, yeah, I would love to come and speak. And then
I'm going to propose one other person. If you need another speaker, Clavon, reach out to him. Clavon, reach out to Omar. Tell him your special gifts. She's my grandmother from Kemet.
Nice. Yeah, I would love to speak with you because I have one more spot open.
Clavon, okay, Clavon, you go for it, honey.
Yeah, and this is a universe. This is to me, this is a clear, crystal clear, visualization of the universe at work. Because when we put together our list, the universe said, okay, well, maybe these few people don't need to be in there, but these people need to be in there. And I'm just flowing with it, right? Now, Rob and I, we've been talking, and we're like, let's just flow with it, allow the universe to do what it needs to do.
We will find a spot to fill. So that what the universe is going to say to Omar now is, well, we have a few more people that you've missed, and so now the conference will be about 10 days. So, Omar, can we show? Do you want to show a little bit about the website? Also, show everyone the page of the day I'm speaking, of course. So. I want you to know I'm very excited. Sunday morning, wherever you are, 10 a.m. California time. And I think I'm interviewing at 9 a.m. 2 women in the plant business.
That's right. Here, I've shared my screen, Dr. Joan. Maybe
you have? Okay.
If you want to bring that up. And I will, where is it? It's right here. No, the wrong spot. There it is.
Okay. Yeah.
So here we have our front page, and then of course our poster, and then we go down, and here is a little description of our conference. It goes, we keep hearing we are the ones we've been waiting for. Well, we have arrived, so let's begin the long-awaited process of disclosure. In this disclosure package, 55 wanderers will come together August 5th through the 9th, 2021, from every spectrum of the universe to give us the most precious of all gifts, which is knowledge. We've learned about our collective history, past future civilizations, intelligent contact, consciousness, the human body avatar, plant medicine, earth communications, just to mention a few aspects of the spectrum, which will be covered in this coming total disclosure. We'll learn how our consciousness creates our reality, the power of our perception, and most importantly, the human potential. We'll begin to understand how to treat trauma in this life or otherwise, and harness knowledge from our ancestors to begin the healing process and rediscovering ourselves. And then this is brought to you by Watchers Talk, Full Spectrum Universe, and it's in cooperation with Paul Anthony Wallace, Forgotten Origins, Our Alien Ancestry, and Portal to Ascension and New Realities, Alan Steinfeld. So on day one, we have, well, actually, I'm not speaking anymore, so it's Eleanor that's going to be on day one, and then Philip Kinsler, Dr. Rita Louise, Dr. Manu Saibaz, I don't even want to pronounce that name, in case I did it wrong, Neil Gore, Nori Love, Mark Ferrantino, Agi Nos, Kenneth Sutton, Marlon Cox, and here's some images of the speakers that are going to be coming on day one. And then on day 2, we have Stephen Cummins. He's going to be talking about the original Magyar language, which was spoken right across the world. And then Renata Zak going to be talking about animal communication. Unfortunately, Dr. Valerie can't make it because he's out building pyramids. And then Bebu Dip Mizra, he's going to be talking on the Yuga cycles and such. And then we'll have some meditation and such with Aaron Fowler, and then Geraldine Orozco, Michael Primo, Eric J. Hecker, Jeremiah Fountain, John Shaughnessy, Mary Rodwell, George Mitrovic, Chris Blackmore, Richard Patterson. And then again, here's some images of our speakers. And then on day 3, we have Michael Feely, Rob Yachts, J.J. Ainsworth is not going to be able to make it. She's in the jungles of Mexico. But that spot is filled, I believe, by Barbara Lamb. I think Barbara has that spot, but don't quote me on it. Norma Rasmussen, Ildi Baudi, Constance Victoria Briggs, Jason Martell, Stephen and Evan Strong, Leah Capitelli, Solrita Antaria, Oli Demigard, Paul Wallace. And again, some images of our speakers that are going to be presenting. And then day 4 is going to be Maratagi and Sona Tandon, which Dr. Joan is going to be interviewing on plant medicine and herbal use. And then after that is Dr. Joan, then Dr. Osmanovic, and then Brad Olson, Aubrey Rose Lewis, and then Doctors JJ and Desiree Hertog, and then Dr. Sasha Lesson and Janet Lesson, and then we'll finish the day off with Alan Steinfeld. And here's some images of, again, of some of our speakers. And then day 5, we have John Cadman, and then we have a North America panel, which has Joel, Allen, Dr. Hertog, Dr. Joan, and as well as Dr. Osmanovic. And then we have Rodney McGillivray, Scotty Roberts, and Joel Ayala Apana. And then after that, we have the Australia panel. And then right after the Australia panel, I believe we are closing that day. But let me just double check.
I think we have the panel that day.
Yeah, we have the Australia panel that's happening at 6 o'clock. So we've got double panels, North American panel, and then the Australia panel. And then that's it. And then when you scroll down, we have you can register for the event right here on our page. Everything in one spot, and then you scroll down, and then the schedule for all 5 days is provided right here on our total disclosure page.
Perfect. Whew.
So everything is in one spot. Man, that was a long one.
That was incredible. Blown away by that, but it's going to be a great conference. And so we're talking about disclosure, okay? 55 points of view on disclosure. And I think what I like about this whole thing is, like, we are the ones we have been waiting for. Mm-hmm. Like, what does that mean to you?
What that means to me is that we made a contract with the earth or with ourselves, and pretty much from the 50s on, even like the late 40s to early 50s on, we've been coming here by the droves. And everyone that's come here prior to us has laid down the groundwork to do what we're doing today. Right, like with Neil and Rob and myself and Greg and Orion Heising and all these people that are out there that are laying the foundations for disclosure and to reveal the true history of our people. I think what we're doing is that we are really filling the footsteps of our ancestors and people that came before us to lay this groundwork. So for me, this is more of a spiritual thing because, this is a calling that I signed up for. And one of the principal reasons as to why I incarnated onto this planet and to do what I, doing, and because everything that I've done in my life has really led me up to this point. Not really up to the point of this disclosure, because this one disclosure is going to be one of many that's to come, right? It's just a series because we can't really cover everything all at once. So it's going to be really broken down into, many, many different categories, not only from myself, but from everyone else out there as well, right? Like the disclosures that Neil does, or Billy Carson, or, Rob, or yourself even, Dr. Joan, everyone that's involved in this field. So to me, that's what that means, that we are the ones that we've been waiting for. Actually, I like to say you are the ones that we've been waiting for, right? When like the speakers that we have coming up, because really they're the ones that have done the groundwork, they've done the footwork, they've gone out, written books, researched, gone out in the field, fought the bush like J.J. Ainsworth is doing right now in Mexico, or like Dr. Orloff building pyramids in Russia. Right, those are the people that we've been waiting for. So I'd like to say you are the ones that we've been waiting for, because I don't like to include myself into that, right? Because I'm facilitating this, this disclosure, and that's really the role that that I'm playing in this entire faculty that we're involved with. Yeah, it's a team sport.
It's really important. It's so important. Like yesterday, Barbara said something really lovely to me. It's like I provided a container that day for her to get her wisdom out. And you're providing a container for all of these speakers, this wisdom to come out, and the audience. It's like, it's so important. So don't just say, I am just. I want you to recognize that.
Yeah, you're right. I'm a facilitator. And
yes, the consciousness, we need that.
Yeah, and this is the, the role that I've chosen for myself, or perhaps the role that was given to me. I don't know. I'm happy with it, because I do what I love, and what I love, and I do it. And I have this passion, and and it's a perfect explanation, right? To create that container for everyone to come in, pour their knowledge into that, and then we can all drink from it and sit at the feet of all these amazing people and learn from them.
I love these conferences because they're interactive also. You're able to actually interact. But I want to share, like there was a conference 2 weeks ago, that hybrid conference, okay, with Sheila. And Neil, you were on that. And during the hybrid conference, well, I had kind of known lots intellectually. So here's the thing. I'd known intellectually about hybrids. I think I have a hybrid kid or two, and I'm a mother of hybrids. I know this, but something happened in that event. There was just the right amount of intellectual, logical, and experiential. Because when I got off the conference, I went in the garage, and suddenly I'm painting these wings that go up, and these energetics and the vibration. And so what I find, I guess I'm pointing out, is that this work actually activates people. It's not just your logical mind. As we go in vibration up, there's more to it. We have more senses and awareness, and we know everything in 1 second. We can't wordify it.
Yeah, that makes total sense, Dr. Joan. I love the energy of these conferences. Speakers are one thing, right? And I appreciate every single one of them. But for me, I find that there's more information that comes forward, and a greater, form of energy that comes from the audience, because the information the audience is sharing is just absolutely incredible. They're posting like link after link after link, and they're sharing their own experiences and sharing other people's experiences, things that they've learned, and the energy is so high that when you're sitting there watching and you're looking at the chat, right, you're picking that energy up, and it's elevating you as well. And and afterwards you begin to think about yourself, like like you were saying, it was like that conference from a couple of weeks ago that I started to think about my experience from the 90s and wondering, hey, I wonder if that's what's happening, happening to me. And, so I began to meditate and daydream and such, and trying to connect with it. But I don't want to force it either, right? Because, when you force something, it really doesn't work out for the best. So I'm just going to allow it to, come in when it does. And if it does, fantastic. If not, then, nothing lost. I learned something, and then move forward with life. But you're absolutely correct. And for me, it's addictive. These conferences, thanks. Neil did it to me.
I was going to say Neil did it to me too. He started
Yeah.
inviting me to interview and host, and then before you know it, I'm starting to really listen in, and then I want to say more. So Neil, I guess he's a
pioneer. He's
he
a pioneer.
and we all need these pioneers, but to grow our work. So I'm very proud of you, by the way, for.
Thank you, Dr. John. Appreciate that.
You didn't even get to hear what I'm proud of you for. Okay,
I don't care.
This is for our audience too, okay? Because when we're called to do something that's completely different from the rest of the planet, we are a tribe. We're a tribe of seekers, knowers. We've been chosen, and we've chosen back. That's what I really do believe. And we all have a different component. Even everyone listening to this is part of this tribe of awareness, this tribe of consciousness that actually coming to our conference and listening to us. But this is the plan. We are this plan. We are the awakened ones turning around and helping to awake everyone else. My teachers have had to do a lot of work to help me understand who I am. It's a big deal when all the information is clouded here on the planet.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because, I've always have had the thought that, when people are waking up and they're coming out of that slumber that they've been in their entire lives, there's that haziness and fogginess when you're coming out. And for me, those are the people that I really, target my conferences and interviews towards, because it's those people that need the clear crystal understanding as to what's really going on, right? We don't need to go on tours. It's nice to buy books, but we don't need all the expensive things, right? We just need someone to make things clear for us. And I find that there's a lot of predators out there as well, that they prey on people when they're waking up and feeding them information that that their ego has really driven them to the idea that my information or my theory is the only theory that's correct and everyone else is wrong. And to me, that's a predatory behavior. And then when those people are really going after people that are waking up, it really irritates me a little bit, because it's okay that you have your theory. I appreciate that, but on the other hand, right, you should share other people's ideas as well, because other people hold the pieces of the puzzle as well. And to dismiss those other people, it's really disrespectful in my eyes. And I can't resonate with people like that. So I always keep an eye out for them, and I make a list, right? I have this whole list of people that I think are like predatory. I won't release the list just for my own personal use, right? So I can keep an eye on those particular people, what they're doing, right?
And so predatory in ways that limit information or limit the exchange of openness and truth, and
that and
on their point of view.
That and trying to drain people of their money, right? Trying to sell them knowledge based on money, right? You won't learn anything about Egypt unless you pay $4,500 and come to Egypt and listen to me and my point of view on how Egypt is built, and then you'll have the real truth, right? That's kind of what I'm leaning towards, right? It's for me, that's predatory. Information, for instance, like the ones that we share, in my belief is that this information should be given to people for free. There should be no charge for it, because I found it on the internet. And, with just a little bit of research, people can go and find that information for themselves on the internet. So, for me, I like to keep the money aspect, totally out of my Watchers Talk. Every once in a while, I'll do an event where I'll charge money for tickets, and that's mostly to raise money to pay for the platform and pay for the website. And then as soon as that's done, I'll go back to doing everything for free again. Because for me, when you involve the vibration and the frequency and the distortion of money into something pure that we're doing, only distorts the message of what we're doing, because money really corrupts things at the end of the day. And a lot of people, they connect those two things together. Like I know I do. I see something and, and I say to myself, how much for that? What's the value of that? How much money do you want from me? So I like to stay away from that. So you'll notice that everything that I do is for free. Like literally, I've done hundreds and hundreds of podcasts, never asked for money. I've done tons of, events like these, hardly ever ask for money. Usually I'll toss like a PayPal link into the comments and ask people to donate. And that really goes to paying for the platform and the website and, to get the next event ready. And, sometimes some speakers want money. And, so I said, okay, I got a couple of $100, send PayPal, I'll give you that if you come and speak. And, they're like, okay, done. It's like, well, I'm not going to be reaching out to you anymore. Because obviously money is a little bit more important than sharing the truth. Right?
Well, that is very, very interesting. That is disclosure also, because in a way, the system on the planet of money has also been part of the hidden secrets, and part of what is being reshifted and hopefully completely reshifted. But I have another question for you, Omar.
Okay.
And I just love your honesty about all of this, by the way. And I love that you're bringing these events together. As a speaker, I'm just so happy to get connected to people who want to hear what we have to say. Also, I get triggered by the other speakers, and I learn so much. And as I said, my art got incredibly different. The vibration of the art shifted. And one of my friends, I sent it to him, and he said, "Oh my God, Joan, this is all the way up like in the thousands or the millionth vibration." Well, even if that was for a fleeting eighth of a second, I'll take it, Yeah, so experience. So why do we call yourself a projection of you?
I believe, well, there's actually a little bit more to that. There is a logo that goes with the projection of you, which is an upside down A and a backwards E, which means in all instances, there can be only one. In my mind, my idea of who and what I am is that I am an expression of the infinite consciousness. I'm a unique expression of it. I'm a point of attention of this infinite consciousness with my own unique signature. Now, I believe that everyone that shares my consciousness and shares the consciousness of the infinite is a projection of myself, because I am a projection of the infinite consciousness, and you, Dr. Joan, are a projection of the infinite consciousness. So that means that I'm a projection of you as you are a projection of me, because we're the same. We have our uniqueness to ourselves, but beyond that, we share the same consciousness. That's why I was mentioning in the conference a couple of weeks ago about the soul, right? How is it that we can have an individual soul when we all come from the same point of attention, or from the same expression of the consciousness? But in that very same conference, I had my mind expanded a little bit. That what the soul does is that the soul will expand itself or show itself more as your awareness and your consciousness increases. So the whole idea behind the projection of you is to show people, it's more of like a subliminal message that I hope that people can catch on, is that when I say a projection of you, I hope for them to ask themselves the question of like, why is Omar saying that he's a projection of me? Right, so it makes them think, and then hopefully they come up with the answer that I have in my mind, that in all instances there can be only one, and that's really the lesson behind the name here. Everything that I do either has a subliminal message attached to it, or has a subliminal logo or an image attached to it, or if I'm doing a presentation, I'll put a background on and I'll make it transparency to very, very low, so people actually have to lean in to see the image that's in the background. It's all for people to really question as to why I'm doing what I'm doing. And same thing with the name.
I get it. Okay, so we have one last question. It's from a friend of mine, and before I put it up there, I had the same question. It's like, okay, so this is from Pamela. She says, I've struggled with scarcity and asking for money for things in the past. And how do you support yourself? And then how do you determine, and this is a personal question, but I'm sure people actually want to know, how you manage to do such intense work on a donation gifting basis and still have a life that is prosperous, free, happy, and well fed.
I don't raise a whole lot of money through donations. Maybe 10, 15 bucks, 20 bucks at most. I worked as a drywaller for a very long time. 16 years I drywalled custom homes and apartments and what have you, commercial buildings, and I was smart with my money, and I just saved and saved and saved. And then when this whole 1984 that we're involved in right now, really helped me. And and on the other hand, my wife works as well. She's a nurse, right? So to have double incomes has really helped us over the years and helped us to save a lot of money. But the trick behind for myself is that I visualize what I want. Like I daydream. That's my form of meditation. I've been meditating for a long, long time. For me, sometimes it doesn't work laying down or sitting down. So I just simply, I just smoke a little herb and then I just zone out. And then when I zone out, I go into that state of mind. And then in that state of mind, I do creative visualization. And then I project what I want for myself, and I write the matrix that's before me. And and as the sky is blue, it kind of works out every single time. Sometimes my wife will say something to me, hey, we have this internet bill, $400. When are we going to pay this? If we don't pay this, it's going to get cut off. Or how are we going to pay this? And I would say, no, baby, let's not look at that. Let's not look at the negative aspect of it. Let's just allow it to, sit. And whatever happens, and the universe will provide for us and it'll let us know what it needs to be done. And for me, that's what's always maintained itself. So, I don't struggle. I'm not starving. The rent is paid. My studio is paid. And it just seems that whatever I'm projecting in my mind that I want to see 2 weeks or a month from now just seems to happen. And to me, that's just the power of mind. And, and it really shows the human potential as well, that we can and we have the capacity to program our future with our thoughts, because the thought is the most powerful thing that there is.
I love it.
And then how
professional daydreamers unite. Yes.
Yeah.
God, I get lost on the freeway when I'm daydreaming.
And then the other aspect of that question from Pamela: how does he determine what he will charge for and what he won't? For me, again, I leave it to the universe, and I look for energetic feelings to which event that I'm going to charge for and which event I'm not going to charge for. And usually what I do when it comes to the determination of the price is that I either go with 1111 or 2222. And that's it. I don't go any higher than that, because to me, 1111 and 2222 are sacred numbers. And that's, I keep it to numerology, and I determine the price based on that. It doesn't matter if I have 10 speakers or 50 speakers. I just wait for that energy and for that energetic feeling to enter my body. And then I say, okay, well, this is what's happening. This is how I feel. Okay, this is what needs to be done. I'll daydream. I'll get a download, and that's it. Like, for instance, for seed, the idea was just a seed, because, from seed, everything comes from a seed, us and living things and kind of what have you. And when I was daydreaming, within my daydream, I came up with an acronym. Well, I didn't come up with it. This acronym was given to me, was that the acronym for seed is show empathy every day. And then so I incorporated that into my seed title to show empathy every day, because within that we were talking about plant medicine, we were talking about animal communication, And and we need to have empathy towards the animals, which we're highly lacking on this planet by majority of the people. And so kind of that's what I depend on, right? I just don't willy-nilly just toss together a price or whatever it is, right? I really rely on the universe and on my daydreams. And also my partners, like Closer Encounters, Clarence Mitchell, that I've been working together for a very long time. Rob Yachts from Full Spectrum Universe that I've been working with for a while now. When these things happen, I reach out to them and I communicate with them because they're some of my best friends. And, and I say, hey, this is what's happening. This is how I feel. What do you think we should do? And we'll communicate as a team and as friends, and then we come up with a plan, and then we carry that out. Sometimes I'll call Neil and I'll talk to Neil and get his advice because really he's gone through the same traumatic experiences that I've gone through myself. So it really helps to speak to people that have that common ground. Well, you're muted, Dr. Joan. No, you're muted, Dr. Joan. I can't hear you.
Okay,
nope,
there.
Still no audio. There we go. There we go.
Okay, yeah.
Here,
Dr.
I'll post the ticket links
Good.
in the
Post the
private
ticket
chat.
links. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And
in the private chat, because I just saw something, the ticket link isn't found or something like that. Drywall is hard.
what was that? I'm sorry. I was actually getting distracted reading the comments. I'm not going to read comments for a second. You are posting the links, right?
Yeah, I just put it into the private chat. Here, I'll go to the YouTube channel and I'll toss it in there.
Okay, and we'll just take it from the private chat over to here, and then we're good. So I want to thank you very, very much for coming on today. And I just find it so interesting to get to know you and to reveal you to ourselves, like this whole thing behind disclosure, what it is for you. So it was very, very timely for me. We have a lot in common. And I'm excited to be on your conference, by the way, and especially on the panel, too. I love it when we all get together and then we can brainstorm or download like our spiritual aha moment.
Yeah.
So my aha moment with you today, I just want to share this, is understanding that when we get that get up and go, that impetus or that call, it's usually a very huge call that's taking you. And I heard, oh yeah, you mentioned your indigenous ancestors, okay? And I had this sudden vision that your ancestors in the beginning of time somehow knew when they were doing some kind of ritual, they literally invoked you or knew that in the future you would be revealing that which they did then. That's actually, they showed that to me a couple of minutes ago and left me in a huge, profound state of, oh my God. And I wanted to share that with you. This disclosure goes all the way back even to your ancestors or to even my ancestors. They're all coming to have a role in disclosing truth. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I want to thank you so much, Omar. I'll stay and talk to you after for a moment if you stick around, okay?
Sure.
And we love this man, guys. Say thank you. I want to hear everyone clapping for Omar and sending him love. I mean, I want to send this man love. Thank you. All right. So was that fascinating just to listen to who he is, how he got to be who he was, and as a walk-in, taking his brand, his message and sharing it with the world. And guys, we each have a mission. We each have a purpose. We are all part of this collective that has come for 2021, which is just an artificial time, but we are here in 2021 to do this amazing, we're like the lifeboat of the planet, if you want to think about it that way, a gathering of souls that know the truth and know that there is a way to get home, if that makes sense. And so that's what we're doing at our conference. I hope you come and hear me on Sunday morning at 10 a.m. California time. And also for that interview I'm doing on plant medicine at 9 a.m. and the panel, and come and listen to everyone. All right. Or as much as you, I put it on in the background. Sometimes I paint, I do my stuff, and then it's like, oh my God, I just heard that. All right. So meanwhile, guys, you are the ones we've been waiting for. If you are new to the channel, please, please, please like, subscribe, and share. And some of you have been doing that so we can reveal the truth and we can expand our tribe. If you are interested in becoming an intuitive ninja, all right, which I highly recommend, learning how to intuit your way, listening to your gut, safely navigating this crazy world we live in, then please come to my website, joanofangels.com, Intuitive Ninja Superpower. It is a great program. You can also pick up your HempWorks at hempworks.com, Joan of Angels, which I highly recommend that product. Next week, I'll share more about it. But meanwhile, we will see you all tomorrow. Actually, we'll have another episode tomorrow on Thursday. If you're around, check us out. You will be more than fascinated. We'll be going into the 5th dimension. So have a fantastic day and week, month, and I will see you all soon. Thank you so much for being with me each and every week. I'm so happy to see you. Sweet. You are listening to Step into the Miraculous with Joan of Angels. I love you all, and I will see you all soon on the other side. That's all for now.